Welcome. I'm Lisa Curtis. If you've been with me for any period of time, you know that sometimes I pop on and I do these, I call them sort of in my head one-take wonders. Today really is going to be a one-take wonder because I wanted to come on and share with you something that I talk about a lot, and I know that we don't actually talk about this a lot in real time. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I talk a lot about change and how change is difficult and it's hard and it doesn't just happen. I love it when people say, oh, I just did it. No, you didn't just do it. You had to work at it. And because I am personally or professionally, I should say, and personally, in the middle of a big change, I wanted to share with you some of the journey in real time. I've been putting off doing this video, not because I didn't want to share with you, but because honestly, time has been a little crunched. So I'm here today, again, very quick. Let me give you some background so you'll understand where this is coming from. My plan is to update you as this change progresses so that you, again, can see the inside workings of what this all means. When we talk about change, Porchatsky, and Di Clemente, the fact that I know them means that I really resonate with their information. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, they came up with something called the stages of change. Pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, all those good things. You can look it up. Maybe later I'll throw it down in the comments. But the bottom line is this. We spent a good chunk of time in pre-contemplation. We may not know that there's a problem or something that needs to change. Maybe other people do, but we haven't yet really even heard the bell ring. Contemplation is when we're sort of there's this little gray zone in between pre-contemplation and contemplation where the bell begins to ring in the back of your head that says a change should probably be coming. And during the contemplation phase, we begin to gather evidence, think about changing, think about how we want to do it, what's worked for other people, what are we going to do? So here's what this looks like for me. My private practice is full and vibrant, and most months out of the year it's a blast, and I love it. I love the clients I work with. I love the change that we facilitate together. The whole thing is fantastic. The part that needs to change, however, as you've probably also heard in my previous videos, is that reimbursement rates from insurance companies are not matching not only my experience and my skill set, but they don't match even cost of living. Again, feel free to head back over to some of my other videos about that whole debacle. So over the past 2 or 3 years, I've been working on not only getting off of insurance panels, but also really beginning to think about how I deliver my services, how I help people make changes, and what kind of changes are people looking to make. I can make a whole lot of suggestions about things, but if people don't want them, that's not going to do me or you any good, right? So here's the messy middle that I'm in the middle of. Last week, after months of contemplation, finally sent in the form to Medicare to opt out of Medicare, which is the required step I have to do. And as of July 1st, I will be off of Medicare. I will work with my clients between here and there to figure out how to do the next step, and that's great. But here's the other piece that I'm beginning to think about. How do I want to deliver my services? What's going to be good? What's working? What's not so much working? What works for me in terms of the life I want to lead, and what works for my clients in terms of their lives and how getting the support that they need fits into their lives. Way back in the day, I worked at a clinic and I worked crazy hours, and for some reason at the time I felt like that was working for me. In retrospect, I can see it didn't work so well for me. I now also know really solidly that I'm not the clinician you want to work with like after 6 o'clock at night. I get up far too early. My brain just isn't as perky at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Forget it at 9 o'clock. You don't want to talk to me that. So what's going to work for me? What's going to work for my clients? So I'm thinking about that. And here's the other part that I'm putting into that mix as I think. Again, I'm in the messy middle. I don't have an answer yet, and that's the part I want to share with you, is that we're allowed to not yet have an answer. We're allowed to still be figuring it out. So the part that one of the ingredients that I put into this is that I used to run dinners. I used to run a dinner group for my clients. That would last anywhere between 2.5, sometimes 3 hours if we were all sitting around laughing. And some of not only my best work, but some of my clients from my dinner group made some of the biggest steps ever during that time together. They were able to not only use that time as a sort of a crucible to have that change begin to happen, but then they carried that change out into their daily lives. So that when we got back together the following month, they were able to share with everybody, hey, I had this awareness, I had this insight last month, this is how I used it during the month. Or this is how it didn't work so well during the last month. So I'm putting all these things into my head, and I'm really beginning to think about, does the traditional 45, 50-minute therapy session work? Well, for some people I know it does work, but I also know that for other people it doesn't work so well. And I'm beginning to think about how I might want to change that. Again, I don't have an answer. I'm not here to pitch you something. I'm here to show you what the messy middle looks like, and this is it. I don't know what's coming next. I have some vague ideas. I've made some beginning steps. I've made some tweaks on my website. I've started to do some reading. I've started to look at other places to see what other people are doing. But I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm not sure if I will. I really don't know. I could do a lot of things. I could start running therapeutic groups. I could start doing intensives. I could start doing marriage counseling intensives. I could start working on retreats. So lots of things to think about. And because it's not yet sure, it feels a little scary. I'm a little nervous. But you know what? I'm going to keep going. Because I know that if I keep going, that somehow, some way, an answer will become clear enough for now for me to implement some sort of a change. I'll try that change on for a while, and if it doesn't work, I can change back or I can pivot and shift again. That's one of the pieces about the contemplation place and the action step. We assess, we decide, and we move on. So I hope that was helpful for you. That was my one take wonder on the messy middle. I will be back when I've gotten a little bit more clarity on where I'm headed. I hope that happens soon because, as you know, the messy middle can be a little messy and a little uncomfortable. But we're going to get there. So hang tight. If you want more information or you want to know more about me or working with me, I'll put all that information down below for you. In the meantime, I hope you're having a great one. I'll catch you soon. Bye.